Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Happy 420.
Hell yeah, man.
Are we too old to celebrate it?
I mean, I've tweeted for many years every year on 420. Like, who's really celebrating? Like, if you're a pothead, are you celebrating 420? My joke was always like, if I got presents under a tree 4 to 6 times a day, would Christmas really be a big deal? Like, who's celebrating this day?
I used to. Remember that? Never forget the Dodgers Nationals.
Oh, that's right.
Infamous.
Dodgers. That was on 420. I forgot about that.
Trevor drove us.
Trevor. And you, not high enough. Like, you're fucking air conditioning, bro. Get fucking air conditioning.
I think that was a different time.
No, I know.
Was that just me, you, and Trevor? Or did
I think Goldberg came, didn't he? Somebody else was there. There was a fourth.
I feel like somebody else was there. Oh, you know who was there was EJ was there.
Me, you, EJ, Trevor?
I'll be honest. It took me a second. Like, what was that guy's name?
EJ.
I always want to call him Ernie.
I think that's his real name, right?
I don't think it is.
I don't know.
Regardless. Happy 420.
I hope I hope most of our former interns are doing really well.
I hope they're all doing very well.
I root for most of them.
I hope they're all doing very well. And I hope that those that can partake a little in this cannabis holiday. The world will be a better place if more people partook in some of these amazing products, especially in 2023. Like, I mean, if you were like a stoner in the 80s and saw what was at your fingertips in 2023.
I think, like everything, I mean, not to get political. Trigger warning. Put off the. We should have somebody that works sound anytime we talk stuff. But I feel like with a lot of things, if it was like a little bit more accepted and whatever, it would actually be better for people's usage. Like I smoked a lot less weed in California where it was legal than I did in New York where it was highly illegal.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything, right? If you're used to it, that's the argument on alcohol, like with European countries. If you can start drinking at 16, 18,
then you don't go to college at 18 and go like, I have to get fucked up every night. I'm free.
Yeah, I'm like the poster child for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is crazy. Now, concerning sports leagues, is it still, I've lost track. Can you test positive and there's no ramifications in the leagues now?
I don't know. I guess across, like, I would think that if that's the case, we haven't heard about it in a while. I'm assuming that they just don't even test for it anymore. Like that's not even a thing that they're looking at.
If we did an overrated, underrated, I would argue, and I think I've said this before, the most underrated drug for return on investment for what it's going to do to you, edibles.
And
They are
and we've had this conversation before, Andy. The answer is mushrooms.
yeah, but like, how much do mushrooms cost?
I mean, these days
That's the question. I don't know.
you can get fucking microdosing. Like, you could have yourself a great day for $20.
I guess the question is, where is it coming from? I'm talking more of like regulated. Like if I get edibles, I know
Well,
it's going to be
not
regulated.
of investment on regulated legal drugs.
I'm just saying, like,
What's in
for
the list? Alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, and cannabis.
I'm just saying, like, if I go to
We get Andy. All of Dirty Sports Nation knows that you are a gigantic lightweight who will take 5 milligrams of edibles and be gone for the next 3 days.
I know that, but my point is, like,
Also, is the return on investment that great? Don't you end up spending $26 at Del Taco later on today?
fair fact. I didn't get the
You
quesarito.
have to consider all the things.
You forgot to remind myself the quesarito. I think I had until April 15th at Taco Bell to get that.
Did they give you like a final day of the quesarito?
Yeah, that was the thing.
Wow. And you didn't get it.
Well, I already had diarrhea.
Oh, that's right.
I can't have diarrhea on top of diarrhea.
Double down.
Yeah.
You should have fought diarrhea with diarrhea, like an old timey sitcom where somebody loses their memory because they get hit in the head and then they get hit in the head again and they're back. It's like, yeah, that's not how concussions work.
Never thought about that. That always was a gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wasn't about that. There was a nasty bug going through. Like, I had diarrhea off and on. My little brother had it off and on for like a week. Like I'm talking where it wrecks you. And I was like, dude, why don't you go to a doctor? Like, you've had this off and on for a week where you're just squirting. And poor Roscoe has it now. I don't know if I gave it to Roscoe. Can you give something to a dog?
That you guys got it from eating the official chili sponsor of the Cincinnati Bengals, which I've heard gives you diarrhea?
It's no longer Gold Star.
I know.
All right, I'll just play the call. We got a call about it. I knew it was bound to happen, the Ruther curse. So we'll just get this out the gate. Didn't expect we were going there so early. We'll get it out the gate. From our boy Jed actually calling in.
What's up, Dirty Sports? This is Jedediah, resident Chili Jack man. Well, just when we thought the Andy Ruther curse was broken, we were wrong. Gold Star no longer the Bengals chili. It now switched to a lesser brand. I think this actually helps me, though, because my plan to win next year's video was to walk 20 miles from Dayton to the closest Gold Star chili location. I guess that saves me the 6-hour trip. Love you guys. Stay dirty.
I mean, here's the thing, dude. I know people want to go Ruth or curse. Now, to be fair, so Gold Star was the official chili for the Bengals for 21 years since the new stadium opened.
I saw a good post about it. I forget was on Reddit or Twitter or whatever that said essentially the chili company.
You can say that. No, I don't care. You can say Skyline.
I don't fuck with that shit. Fucking diarrhea chili. That the chili who will not be named. Very Bandy Andy move. Just for 20 years, it's like, we stink, and now they're good. Suddenly they're back on board. Very Bandy Andy move by that chili company.
Well, a lot of people were saying that.
Suddenly they're like, Major League Baseball doesn't even matter. No one cares about it. Pulling their sponsorship from fucking the baseball team.
Well, here's the thing. They actually do sponsor. So they have like complete domination at this point. They're also like twice the size. So like they have the Reds, the Bengals, the soccer team, FC Cincinnati, Xavier, UC, Kings Island, the Zoo. I mean, you can go on and on. But here's the thing. And I've said this. And it's like really alarming. I'll use the word alarming because it shows people need lives. Like the people who get vested in Chili, you're a fucking loser. I'm just gonna say it. Like
I want villain Andy. I want villain Chili story. I think Andy now. I think Twitter Andy, Gold Star Andy now has to come at the Bengals. I think you need to be like Skyline is just like Joe Burrow. Even on his best day, he's finishing in second place. Oh, mic dropping on fucking.
Well, did you know what Joe Burrow? And you know this, I knew this was going to happen. I already had this, right? Did you see the Joe Burrow? You probably didn't see it. The Joe Burrow tweets.
No.
Joe Burrow tweeted May 3rd, 2017. Hot take: Skyline is trash. Goes back February 20th, 2018. Just a reminder that Skyline is terrible. That is all.
Oh, we love it.
So like that's the irony, and he's on record and he hasn't backed down. He's like, I don't mess with. He's like, Skyline's terrible. I'm just not a fan in general of like the Cincinnati style chili, but like particularly Skyline. Like I don't. Here's the thing, people. Like again, I've been fascinated reading tweets over the last day because it's like, dude, if you care so much about to use the word the kids say, mid-level chili, like I'm on record saying I eat both, but neither are really Like, dude, I work for Gold Star. I'll just say it. Like, when I go to Gold Star, I get their hamburgers, I get their chicken sandwiches, I get their shakes. Like, people who are like, it has to be Skyline. It has to be Skyline. Oh my God. Dude, you care about chili, man. I know I was doing the Allen Iverson that one episode. We're not talking about steak.
I mean, I think again,
it's a bad look for
the
Cincinnati.
Mets broadcast a few years ago when they were in Cincinnati. They covered it. They covered it on behalf of New Yorkers and people with taste everywhere.
That's my thing is like, dude, you're standing. And by the way, I'm talking either side. You're standing for chili, man.
There's chili people on both sides. On both sides, chili people.
Yeah, I knew that was coming though. The whole Ruther curse thing.
Yeah, we all knew it was coming.
I mean, look, guys. At the end of the day, you know, they got a lot more of this. They got a lot more money. So,
I was like, fingers? They have a lot more fingers? What the fuck are we doing here?
I was enjoying having fun on Twitter though yesterday on Gold Star's Twitter.
Yeah,
I was going at. They give me a nice little rope. I have freedom to
troll
do
people.
some. Well, not troll, but like, I wouldn't even say troll. Like if people who were coming at us, I was really stoked about this exchange. I'm just going to put it up on the screen because it's like people who know, again, it's like these stands of like, dude, you're standing for a mid-level chili restaurant. Like, dude, you're not standing for like, give me a great New York spot. Give me a great New York spot.
I don't know, like Smith and Walensky's or Peter Luger or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, stand for something legit. Like you're standing for, you know, chili. So like this was a great exchange. Like this guy wrote, y'all going out of business. The Bengals, only thing that kept y'all afloat. And then I was so stoked to use this. You sure about that? You sure about that? Which I love that gift for the record.
Yeah.
So like they let me have fun with it. And it's like, which I really appreciate, by the way.
Have you seen Wendy's? They're on, like, the Wendy's have like an animatronic digital Wendy, and she's like roasting people on TikTok. She was like, it was literally, oh, it's amazing. You need to talk to your friends at Gold Star about allowing you to get into that kind of game. It's literally like her roasting, like people commenting, her roasting. It's amazing.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I don't know. Here's the analogy. You'll like this to bring it back to sports. And I was saying this to my girlfriend nonstop yesterday. And she understood just from listening to our showing up. The perfect analogy of Skyline to Gold Star is like, it's like the propaganda of Derek Jeter, Michael Jordan. Like, people have been told their whole life, it's so good. It's so because of brilliant marketing. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
Like, the marketing, if you grew up in Cincinnati, was all the commercials. It's Skyline time. It's Skyline time. And now we're at the point where like they only have chili, and Gold Star again, it completely expanded their menu into other things. And you're like, wait a second. Both chilies are like very similar. One offers all these other things if you don't want to mess with the chili, but everyone's still like, it's so much better. In the 90s, it's so much better. I grew up, my family took me to Skyline. It's so much better. Dude, but Gold Star offers like shakes and chicken sandwiches, and they have good products. It doesn't matter. It's so much better. I grew up in the 90s. My parents took me there after my baseball games. It's Skyline time. Dude, you're literally Derek Jeter, Michael Jordan.
I look forward to the Reddit pages. Like, do we have to talk about chili every episode?
Prano,
We get it, Andy. You work for Gold Star.
Regardless, if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, that'll be pretty funny. Like if that was what put them over the top.
I'm kind of rooting for the Bengals to miss the playoffs this year.
Can I be honest?
Randy just ran through a wall.
I kind of low key made a comment about that yesterday, even though I'm wearing shout out to Rant. What is his name from Cleveland? Ranta.
Yeah.
Crypto Rant.
Yeah. We're both wearing Dirtball Gifts shirts. I have my Meats shirt on today.
Yeah, I'm rocking the Joe Burr that he brought me down from Cleveland. So you were at that game yesterday.
I was, and shout out to Crypto Ranta. I was wearing my Grateful Dead New York Mets t-shirt. Not a Dead fan, but God, that's an homage. Is it homage?
Yeah.
T-shirt. It was so soft. I was like, I gotta wear it. It's just too soft not to wear it to the ball game. And I'd been to a couple. I've been supporting the Mets drastically the last few days, so I was running low on clean Mets gear. So I was like, oh, wear this Grateful Dead shirt. Yes, was that Scherzer gate yesterday? Was that sweat and rosin?
So obviously, you were there, and I've read up on it, watched the videos. So basically, the ump accuses him. What's this guy,
here's let me give you my perspective. Let me give you my perspective. So I'm at the game. We see, I see after the third inning, and it happens, I don't know, every inning or ever, like I'm not up to like the actual protocol, but we've all seen videos at this point of them checking pitchers on their way off the mound. It's something that's fairly common. I don't know if it's like a must do now or if it's just every couple innings. So they check them on the way off the mound. And I noticed that in passing. Good, leaves. Then on the way into the game in the fourth inning is where the hullabaloo all starts taking place. And suddenly down the first baseline, Max Scherzer's very animated, yelling at two umpires. Pete Alonso's poking his head in. Buck comes hustling out. And we see this. And I'm like, what the fuck is it? And I actually thought, like, what is this about? Because this can't be about, like, you can't be doing he's coming into the game.
Yeah.
You just checked him leaving the game an inning ago. So now you're checking him coming into the game? And that's when he's like showing him his glove and whatever. And I was like, this is a sticky stuff thing. And I've said to my buddy who I was with, I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why would they get him on his way into the game? Anyway, he obviously gets ejected. I thought for sure he got ejected because he felt like I was for sure he got ejected for calling the guy a cocksucker after being like harassed on his way into the game. I didn't actually think he got ejected in the moment for the substance. I thought he was like, what the fuck is happening? You're checking me going into the game now? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, you're a douche. And they were like, all right, you're not allowed to talk back to us. We're allowed to scream and curse at you and treat you guys all like shit monsters, but you're not allowed to treat us bad. We're the umpires. We're more important than anybody on planet Earth. You're gone. But no, he was ejected for the sticky stuff. His explanation after the game, obviously just common sense. They gave me some sort of nudge about my stuff was too sticky on the way out. I cleaned up in front of Major League Baseball officials.
But what now explain to me, like when they say it's too sticky.
What
exactly does that mean?
This is where the whole thing becomes laughably ridiculous, which is they essentially are saying now we don't have to have found a substance that we deem that is by definition illegal on you. We can just eject you for being sticky, even if, like Max Scherzer says, it's sweat and rosin. We can eject you for that. Because,
so it's personal opinion. There's no like barometer to judge.
And not only is it personal opinion, but here's the best / worst part of this whole thing. Phil Cuzzy, the umpire, who, if you see the video from the end of the third inning, slams Scherzer's glove against his chest. First of all, what the fuck are we doing? Then kicks him out of the game. Is the only umpire to have kicked anybody out of the game for substances this year. He's kicked 3 people out.
Yeah.
And he's the guy who famously last week told the Yankees pitcher, just like, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Go clean yourself up. Do you know who he is now on a list of hated umpires with Adam Hamari, Angel Hernandez. Do you know who my favorite umpire in baseball is, Andy?
I don't know because you don't have one.
I don't have one because they're all the ones whose names I don't know are my favorite.
Well, that's I know we've talked
Why
about
do I
this.
know this dipshit's name?
You only know a ref's name when they're bad.
Show.
Yeah. Like in any sport. You only know a ref or an ump when they're bad. Like Ed Hockley, everybody knew him for a while because he was jacked, and that was the joke, right? Like, look at his guns in the NFL. But exactly. I only know Angel Hernandez because he's bad. That's all. That's the only reason I know his name.
So now, apparently, automatic 10-game suspension if you're removed from a game for an illegal substance, even if the umpire is the only umpire in baseball removing people for illegal substances, even if that umpire says you don't have an illegal substance, he just doesn't like how sticky you are.
So he's going to miss 2 starts now?
He can appeal. And somebody just was messaging me about that. Like, it would be bullshit if he got 10 games. I go, he's getting 10 games. Well, the only thing less likely than an umpire being a fucking douche is an umpire saying, I was wrong. 0% chance. They go, we fucked up.
And again, like, the league has to know it's not good when we know who these umps are. And also, like, it's not good for the game. You don't want to suspend.
But also, what kind of policing are we doing when on the way out of a game in the 3rd inning, the umpire says, your shit's too sticky, and Max Scherzer goes, check it, there's nothing there. And he goes, take your fucking glove back. Go get a new fucking glove. And then Max Scherzer goes, cleans his hands in front of MLB officials, comes back out with a different glove, and still gets ejected. Imagine how much of a gigantic douche you have to be to tell somebody what to do, have them do it to the letter of the law by your fucking rules, and still need the attention of throwing somebody out of the game. The MLB players rep. And there's all kinds of science to this too. His spin rate didn't fuck it. His spin rate exactly where it's been the whole fucking year. So they have all the evidence they need to not suspend him. He's going to get suspended, despite there being overwhelming evidence that these guys are wrong. Despite there being evidence that Max Scherzer's spin rate yesterday was the same it's been the whole year. This year, he's been mediocre at best.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Just don't get it.
Ump show. I'm just so sick of fucking umps.
So that was a weekday Dodger Stadium game?
Yeah.
They don't do too many of those.
And that was the thing. That was the other part of it. Scherzer, Syndergaard, Mets, Dodgers, day game, 0-0 in the fourth.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Now, the Mets won anyway, which, as I tweeted yesterday, made me so happy that we went through all this and Phil Cuzzy still lost his bet that he placed on the Dodgers.
Yeah, I just again, it's all unnecessary. I don't know why we're doing this. I don't know when they started doing the glove checks. Where was that outcry from? Like, who wanted that? Did the players want that? The fans didn't want that. Who wanted that? Like, why was this created is my question.
I understand the blatant change. You know, we're going to start checking because the blatant whatever, there's spider tack or there's this or there's that. But, like, again, if you're going to have this in place, there has to be, like, it should be like a DUI test. You can't just say, we think you're drunk. Okay. Blood test me.
Yeah, there's science behind it.
Okay, take my glove, confiscate it, scrape it, and if you don't find it, the umpire gets suspended.
Sure. So we got a call about the other team in New York, the other baseball team. I think this is a good call. We'll discuss.
Interesting. The Yankees.
Yeah, about the Yanks. Give us a ring, 310-359-8365. That's our hotline. Here's the call.
Yo, what's going on, Dirty Sports? Question for you. How many more years of no postseason success, really, or how many more years of no championship, or I guess what's the criteria before the Yankees are officially the Cowboys, where all of their greatness is a thing of the past, and then all of their sad fans just have to hold on to the fact that they have, like, one of the most amounts of championships and things like that? Food for thought. Hope you guys answered the question, and catch you later. Peace.
That is a great question.
This is an interesting question. Well, let me tell you, let me start by saying Yankee fans are very similar to Cowboys fans. That it
They
could
are.
be 1,000 years. They will never not talk about all their fucking rings. But, and I don't like to do this. I don't like to defend the Yankees, but I mean, this is a call that's let's see. The Yankees won.
I can tell you, I have it in front of me.
Yankees have won 5 World Series since the Cowboys last won a Super Bowl. Is that correct? Cowboys' last Super Bowl was in
7.
The Yankees have won 7? No.
96, 99, 2000, 2001, 2003, 2000. Oh, no, sorry. Sorry, these are make the World Series. I apologize. They've won 5.
5 since the Cowboys won.
96,
Now-
99, 2000, 2009.
Now you add 2 more World Series appearances, and you add multiple ALCS appearances since the Cowboys have played in an NFC championship game.
Yeah.
So
Well-
there's really no comparison.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's that same thought process. of we're gonna all talk about rings because that's all Cowboys fans do and that's all Yankees fans do. The reality is the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009.
Right. Which is
Like,
what I was going to say. If we're talking about, if you want to talk about, first of all, when did they become the Cowboys? Like, well, they're never going to be what the Cowboys fans are because they're already 16 years ahead of the Cowboys, right? Like,
yeah.
So they won in 2009. So unless the Cowboys win one soon, the Cowboys are always going to be that many years far down the line of not winning. But I'll say this. You can go back a while now where we were already like, Cowboys fans, shut the fuck up. It's been how long since you won? So I'm going to put it at 20 years. 2029, Yankees fans become what Cowboys fans were when we started treating them like that. When you get to the 20-year mark, you go like, guys, what are we talking about? It was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was 20 years of kids who were one when you won your last World Series can drink now. Like, it was 20 years ago. You can do for the Cowboys, you can do like the, AOL barely existed. There was, there was no camera phones. You could whatever. I mean, in 2009, we're talking about 14 years ago. Like, there was the internet.
Yeah. 96, 95 season was the last time the Cowboys won. I mean, a lot's happened. Like the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl,
the World Trade Center was still standing.
I wasn't in high school yet.
Yeah.
I'm 41. I wasn't even in high school yet.
I was still in high school.
Cowboys fans, they really hold on to those rings.
Oh yeah, it's pathetic. But again, until the Cowboys make an NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl, it's not like they're suddenly going to be like, oh, the Yankees are the new Cowboys. The Cowboys are still the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The Cowboys have a 13-year head start on the Yankees.
For sure. So we got a big moment happening here in a few minutes as a heads up. We're going to have Ryan Klatt, our NHL hockey correspondent. He's going to hop on the show from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Bless you.
I believe this is our first live call from Canada. I believe that's our first live call from Canada. Before we do that, wrapping up baseball news, I can't believe it's actually happening. The Oakland Athletics are going to move to Las Vegas.
I simultaneously love and hate this. Oakland is a really fucking cool city. I like Oakland. Oakland is with Oakland being its own city, it's almost like a Brooklyn to a Manhattan if Brooklyn was a completely separate city. It's great. They have the bones for building a new stadium right on a waterfront. Like, everything's there. Oakland can fucking cry about the A's all they want, and the A's can cry about Oakland, and I blame both of them. I'm sad that Oakland will not have a baseball team. Simultaneously, I've been going to Vegas a lot more lately, and to have a baseball team in Vegas will be dope.
Yeah, so it'll be near where the Raider Stadium is. Which the Raider Stadium is basically right off Interstate 15 for anybody who's familiar. And yeah, man, it's gonna be obviously a retractable roof. Like, for me as a former resident, it's crazy, man. It's nuts. Like, when I moved there in 2005, there's no pro teams. They were hoping to get the Marlins from Miami. That was like all the big talk my 2 years I was there. Oh, let's try to steal the Marlins. Now this will be the third team, which we
But
all know the
it's
NBA will
sad
be the
for
fourth.
Oakland. I mean, there's a lot of great baseball history in Oakland. You know, Ricky Henderson, the Bash
Oh,
brothers,
for sure.
you know, Mrs. Fields, Ball Girls, Moneyball. Like, there's a ton of great
Oh, yeah.
baseball history there, and it's sad for them to leave and go to Vegas. That being said, again, sports and politics, whether you like it or not, they go hand in hand. And the mayor's playing fucking Moneyball essentially with the A's. You have this dog shit ownership situation. They cry poor. They're playing in a football stadium. Nothing reinvigorates a baseball team like a brand new stadium, a reason for people to come out. They could turn everything around. They could finally give Oakland fans what they want by, you know, injecting some excitement and injecting some money into the situation. And they will in Las Vegas because, you know, the city doesn't want to play ball.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Listen, I know the A's are a part of it as well. I know the organization is part of it, but there is, again, this is what, you know, when I say sports and politics, like every other city's doing it. So that's just the way it goes. Either you fucking foot the bill or teams leave. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, man. It's it sucks with history. And like, especially even as like a non-Oakland guy, like the Reds' last World Series was against them. So like my history as a Reds fan is like, wow, this was that, like you said, those were great teams in the late 80s, early 90s. They outdrew the San Francisco Giants. Like they were the team. And it stinks, but obviously everybody's moving to Vegas. They're going to get an NBA team. They're going to end up having 4 teams, which, like I said, to me, it's crazy. As someone who lived there, they were like, this will never happen because of gambling. You talk about the internet barely existed last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. Dude, that's just 15 years ago when I'm there. And everybody's saying, oh, not because of gambling, man. There's not going to be pro teams. And now they've stolen 2 teams from Oakland. Vegas has made Oakland its bitch. So I don't know. I'll be curious how they draw. The Raiders draw great. The Black Knights draw great. I'll be curious how a baseball team draws in Las Vegas. Dude, can you imagine those players? Like baseball players are partiers.
Yeah.
They're
It's gonna be great.
They're gonna love it.
But also, you know, the thing to keep in mind is people always talk about it. When teams come to New York, they go out. When teams go to Miami, they go out. When teams come to LA, they go out. It's just gonna be another thing. It's like, it's not like,
sure.
It'll probably be a small advantage during the course of a 3-game series. You're like, oh, team's coming to town. They go out one night.
That will be cool for you. You know, new stadium. Go check it out. I don't know. The thought of baseball in Vegas is pretty cool.
Well, here's the situation with Oakland. I have always thought, like, again, everything about the A's as a franchise in terms of the baseball history, the uniforms, the players they've had, the teams they've built, it's all great. But the bottom line is, when the Mets swing through the West Coast, it's never a priority to see them in Oakland because the stadium fucking stinks.
Yeah. The worst of the worst. Now I wonder if are they gonna keep the name, the Vegas Athletics?
I hope so. I hope they keep the names. I hope they keep the colors. There's a brand there. There's a brand
for
there.
Sure.
Keep it.
There's a brand. There's a history. Well, Joe, I see we have Ryan is waiting in the in the queue here to join us.
From the Vegas of the North.
Yeah, that's right.
Saskatoon.
So let's let me see if I know. Let's bring Ryan on for the show. Oh, we
What's
got
going on?
up close. Let me see my options here. No, we don't
Can
want
you
to do
hear me?
that. Yeah, we can hear you.
We
great.
can hear you.
All right.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I could hear you call the Golden Knights the Black Knights from backstage. So that was nice.
Is that what I called them?
Yeah.
I always want to call them the
It's
Black
fine.
Knights. Ryan, we finally meet in person.
Yeah. I mean, here I am, man.
You look exactly as I predicted you would.
Like a burly lumberjack
A
or what?
beard, some sort of maple leaf on your hat. Yeah, I mean, I assume a bear is going to walk in the background or a moose.
A moose. Yeah. High probability.
So take me through. Well, first of all, you've probably done this before. Where is Saskatoon, Saskatchewan?
Well, it's pretty much smack dab in the middle of well, not the middle, like the lower half middle of the province, right in the middle of the prairies. Not a lot of scenery. I mean, a rivers.
So like what do people do for fun where you're at?
I mean, in the summertime, I love to golf. Golf is huge in Saskatchewan. We love to golf. We can only do it for 5 months of the year, right? So you got to take advantage while the weather's nice. It looks like January outside. We just got a huge dump of snow. So
Today.
That's great. Yeah, the last 2 days we got like 6 inches of snow.
What is the closest hockey franchise to where you are?
I think Edmonton would be the closest. We got a lot of Oiler fans here. And then I guess you got Calgary and Winnipeg.
But you
East of
are
us.
a Maple Leafs fan, judging by your hat.
I am a Maple Leafs fan, yes. Die hard.
Is that a family relation to
Actually,
Toronto, as I've just been corrected on Instagram? Toronto, no T, no second T.
Yeah, Toronto. Yeah, that's how you say it. Actually, one of my uncles is first cousins with Wendell Clark. I don't know if you guys.
I remember Wendell Clark.
Oh yeah, good Sasky farm boy, tough as nails.
Good beard back in the day.
Oh yeah, he had the stash. He put guys through the boards. He could fight. He could hit. He could score. He was awesome.
Oh,
so that's kind
I
of.
believe if I recall, this might be aging me, but in the old, like he was playing in the 90s, right?
Yeah, 80s and the 90s. Yeah.
In my old Sega Genesis hockey days, he was one of the few guys in the game where with a wild slap shot you could shatter the glass.
Oh yeah, that's probably true. You're talking NHL 94 on the Genesis.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Great game. Yeah.
One of the all-time, I mean, I would say top 10 sports video game of all time.
Oh, easily.
Maybe top 5.
You had Jeremy Roenick was somehow the best player in the game.
Yeah.
Some glitch. I think he must have known a guy in the developing whatever with EA.
Yeah, we had a no Roenick rule.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
You couldn't be the Blackhawks.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is he American or Canadian, Roenick?
He's American.
Like do you like as a Canadian, because this is your guy's sport, let's just call it what it is, right? Do you root so hard for Canadians versus American players, or do you not care?
I mean, Austin Matthews is American. He's the Leafs best player, so I hope that he does well. But I don't really care, honestly. Like McDavid's probably my favorite player, and obviously he's Canadian. But
that's a great way to transition into the question that I asked after your last call.
Sure.
I want to talk about this. You deemed him one of the all-time greats already, which I have heard from hockey fans. You see that out there a lot. You see a lot of conversation as well about Ovechkin's, scoring numbers that are, climbing the ranks. Sidney Crosby is somebody that's mentioned. Obviously, it goes without saying. The great one is, popularly considered the greatest of all time. I know there's some other guys that people will be like, low key, this guy was actually better. But why is cups. It doesn't seem like in the hockey conversation, it's ever like, he doesn't have as many cups.
Yeah. I mean, you guys kind of touched on it, right? Like Gretzky has 4 cups and Messier has 6, but nobody on planet Earth would put Messier above Gretzky on their all-time list. I think the best way I could answer that is
except maybe Gary Coleman.
Oh yeah, because that picture, yeah.
Great round.
Gary Coleman has Messier as number 1, no question. But so on a hockey team, you've got 18 skaters. You've got 4 forward lines, 3 D lines. Your best forwards are only playing around 20 minutes out of 60. So that's less than half the game. And in basketball, your best players are playing over 30 out of 48.
Yeah.
So, and you've got your 5 starters and your 5 bench guys. So a lot less guys. And so your best players in basketball would have a lot more of an influence on the game. And in hockey, it's just, you need contributions from the whole lineup to win. And good goaltending, obviously, too. And in McDavid's case, he's never had like a top 20 goaltender in the league. Maybe with the exception of this year, Stuart Skinner's kind of emerged as a pretty solid guy. But yeah, I think it's a pretty healthy conversation. I think most people realize you shouldn't count cups because of that, but you do still see the odd, dumbass out there who will say no cups, or they'll comment no cups still under a McDavid highlight post or whatever. But
let me ask you another question, because you just mentioned the goaltending. When you have a player like McDavid, or if you have, a great player or a great couple players, or you're starting to build a great team, why in hockey, and maybe it's just a lack of like elite goaltending to be available, but you would think with a player like that, they would go, okay, we have him. He's going to make all the guys that he plays with better. We just got to go immediately go get a goaltender.
Yeah. And it's kind of something that the Oilers in particular, they sat on their hands for way too long on. And I mean, yeah, there isn't a ton of elite goaltenders really. I mean, there's a handful out there, but yeah, you have to get lucky too in the draft. Like the Oilers did sign a pretty big free agent in the offseason, Jack Campbell, but he was terrible this year. So they had to resort to a homegrown guy, and he's come up and taken the reins. But yeah, it's tough to find your guy, right? There's only so many of them, and you have to get lucky.
Would you, when talking about goaltenders, and again, I don't know anything, but I just know from reading stuff as far as when it comes to playoffs, is it very similar to baseball where a pitcher gets hot? You'll see suddenly a goalie, right, is
yeah,
dude, this guy is unstoppable in this playoffs. And it's right, it's kind of like the pitcher who just gets hot.
The goaltender is doing the stopping, Andy. So he's become the great stopper.
Yeah, exactly. Goaltending is the most important position, especially in the playoffs. And yeah, you've seen a lot of guys go on they get hot at the right time and they just go on runs, like Patrick Waugh in '86 before he was a rookie and wound up winning the Canadiens a cup, and Cam Ward in '06 for the Hurricanes. A few examples like that of guys just getting hot at the right time. And you got guys that don't get so hot at the right time.
Well, the playoffs have just begun. We're a couple games in. We talked about, I mentioned it, and then you discussed it in your call. A historic season for the Bruins.
Yeah.
Me and all my friends, we all hate Boston. Everybody hates Boston, can't be rooting for Boston. Bruins, obviously, of all the Boston teams, the least triggering to me as a New York sports fan. I don't really give a shit about hockey. Probably not a lot of racial epithets being thrown out at Bruins games, with the league being predominantly white. So you probably hear less and less about the Boston fans in that regard. But you talked about it in your last call. A lot of teams have had historic runs and then they lose very early in the playoffs. How's it looking for them? And what teams do you have out there, whether it be a hot goaltender or catching fire at the right time, do you see potentially being contenders for the cup right now? Who do you like in terms of, I guess, tackling Boston or just making a run of their own?
Yeah, I mean, Boston's playing Florida right now, and Florida got really hot down the stretch. So, if I was a betting man, maybe sprinkle a little bit on the Panthers. Like they won pretty big last night, 6-3. So I do still like the Bruins to win that series, but
what's that series at?
It's 1-1 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all the series are either have played only 1 or 2 games. So other than them, like, I don't know, like I think the winner of this Stars Wild series could be a little sneaky. Everybody in the West, they're only really talking about the Avalanche and the Oilers. And I guess Vegas too. Vegas kind of quietly had a good year, but that's a sneaky one. Stars and Wild, good goalies in that.
The
series.
Stars are in Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
is there a little extra on that series for the fans based on the formerly North Stars?
Yeah, the artist formerly known as the Minnesota North Stars. Yeah. I mean, probably, yeah, that's probably something that the Minnesota fans are thinking about a little. Maybe Stanga has some feelings about that. But yeah,
No, sorry, I was going to say, and then they became the Wild, which I know we've discussed, like, interesting nickname. Not sure what it means.
Yeah, it's kind of not my favorite. I'm not a big fan of the one named things, right? Like
they always
Wild.
came in. It was that's always like the new team. It was always somebody that comes in and they're like, well, let's be different.
Yeah,
everybody's got an S on there. And honestly, if they were the Minnesota Wild, WYLDE,
I knew you were going there.
I knew
you were going there,
Chris. First guest in Dirty Sports history, if I remember.
Wow, look at that. That's a little Dirty Sports deep dive. So
Ryan, talk to me. I'm going to cut Andy off because I want to get it in. There's a lot of excitement, as a Knicks fan. There's a lot of excitement around Madison Square Garden right now with a big series. It's a very special moment in time for me in the 90s when both the Rangers and the Knicks were good simultaneously. It made spring, it made April and May, maybe, especially with baseball, getting started, maybe the most exciting time in the year for a New York sports fan was when the Garden was jumping literally every night, because if the Knicks weren't playing, the Rangers were there playing. And it was always exciting when either there had to be a question about how is this going to get scheduled, or famously, going back 30 years now, a time-lapse video where they take the ice and cover it up and put the floor out for a later in the day Knicks game. How should I be feeling about a Rangers team that is currently playing our cross river rival, the New Jersey Devils?
Rangers Devils, a classic rivalry. It's going to be more intense than Walt Ruther's Wednesday night men's bowling league. So I think this one's kind of a coin toss. I do like the Rangers a little bit more. They just came off that Eastern Conference Finals appearance last year. They're a bit more experienced, and they had those big deadline acquisitions. Acquisitions, yes, thank you. Kane and Tarasenko. So I do like the Rangers a bit more, and they kind of steamrolled them in game 1, 5-1. So I like the Rangers a bit more, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes 7. The Devils, they had a surprisingly good year. Like, they're young, they're fast, they're kind of the opposite teams that they won cups with in the early 2000s and the 90s, where they were boring as fuck. But yeah, I think don't be surprised if that one goes 7. I do like the Rangers a bit more, though.
Do either of those teams, and whichever one I guess would escape this rivalry series, do either of those teams have cup potential?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Whoever, if you make it past the first round, you can go. You see, run like 8 seed teams can go on runs. Like the Kings won as an 8 seed in 2012. Like the Predators, the Canadians recently. You can anybody has a chance if they make it out of the first round.
And we just talked about a famous Rangers Devils rivalry. And I've been to a lot of Rangers games in my day. I've talked about it on this show. Going to hockey in person is the only thing that keeps any sort of love of hockey alive in my bones, because I think hockey in person is awesome. I don't know enough about the game, which is why we have you on to fill us in about it, to like care all year round. But I love going to games. And I got to say, in my Rangers watching, I found Rangers Islanders games to be even more intense than Rangers Devils games.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the New York Islanders right now and what they've got going on.
So they're playing the Hurricanes right now. So the Islanders were one of the wild card teams. So they play the Hurricanes, who won the Metro Division. Going into this one, I thought the Islanders had a high chance to upset them because their goaltender is like, he's like arguably the best goalie in the league, Ilya Sorokin. They did drop their first 2 games though. So the Islanders are down 0-2. I thought they deserved a bit of a better fade. They had some bad breaks. But I still think the Islanders have a chance. I think it can go, it's probably going to go 7, especially if the Islanders come back. And if the Rangers win their series, then it would be Rangers Islanders, because of the playoff format right now is kind of dumb. Like they don't reseed the teams; you just stay in your division. But yeah, that would be the case. It would be Rangers Islanders second round. That would be really good.
We just covered a lot of the teams that are participating in the eastern side of the draw. What big news? What are the things to watch on the West?
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about my Leafs.
Let's talk about your Leafs.
Okay. The Leafs.
Not Leaves.
Not Leaves. No.
Not Toronto Leaves.
No, it's
Toronto
Leafs. Maple Leafs. Yeah. I feel like there's a grammar exception for sports.
Yeah.
Like there's the Elks as well. That's CFL. You guys don't care. Anyways, so
because elk is the plural of elk.
Elk is the plural of elk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Anyways, this series, life or death for the Leafs. This series is life or death for me as a Leafs fan.
Who are you guys playing?
The Lightning again.
Lightning.
So same as last year. So Leafs 6 straight first round exits. 5 straight losses in winner take all games. They haven't made it past the first round since 2004. I was in grade 5. I can't stress this enough. They fucking have to win this series. They have to. And the Lightning took it to them pretty bad on Tuesday night. They won 7-3. A lot of power play goals. They got to clean up their penalties. One of the Leafs players got suspended. So it's a big one tonight. Game 2 is tonight. It's a big one. Leafs, I still think they can win the series because they have to. Like, heads will roll if they don't win.
Are they the higher seed?
They're the higher seed, yeah. And Tampa really struggled down the stretch. Like the last month and a half, they were pretty terrible. And maybe
Tampa has in recent history been an elite NHL team, correct?
Well, 3 straight finals appearances. They won back-to-back in 2020 and 2021. So yeah, they're a wagon. They're good. But they were starting to show time.
I love your sayings. Like I don't even know what they mean. I love them. Like they're a wagon. What the fuck does that mean?
Like
what is there a wagon? What's
wagons roll? Wagons roll. They roll along.
There's Canadian sayings are the best.
I was like, are they a chuck wagon? Are they serving meats? They dropping meat? They hang meat on people.
So give me your prediction before we get out of here. What's your prediction, or
What are
Who
your,
do you
yeah?
think's
What's the what are the hot takes from Saskatoon? What are the hot takes that are going to melt some Saskatoon snow today?
Oh, I would love that. Like for the who's going to be in the finals or like
Sure,
what?
finals, conference finals.
I mean, I'll stay safe in the East. I do think the Bruins come out of the East, as much as I hate to say it. In the West, I picked the Oilers coming in. Didn't really get into that much, but yeah, I like Edmonton a lot. They're playing the Kings again. They played them last year in the first round as well, and that one went 7 games.
The Gretzky, that's the Gretzky series.
Oh yeah, it
right?
is Oilers Kings. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, it is.
All of my hockey knowledge is based on the middle of the 1990s. Anything,
it was a good period of time, that's for sure. A little bit before my watching time, but
now, real quick, I have to ask: have you ever met Cuba Gooding Jr.?
I have not.
He's a hockey fan.
Yeah, I saw the clip.
Is that a thing? Did you know about that?
We should tell Cuba that the beer is stronger in Canada. Maybe he'll make a visit.
Is it?
Oh hell yeah! We love to see that.
Appreciate that. Dropping a little light.
I had to calm the nerves a little bit. I was a little nervous coming into this, but no, Cuba Gooding, I have not met him. I did know about that clip. I think I kind of remember when it happened and the aftermath, and it was kind of like, oh man, that guy he was just buckled trying to do the awards.
Another Canadian term, buckled. Like
belt buckle? Keep them coming
like
all
a
day.
Pilgrim buckle? Like what are we talking here?
Buckled, waffled. He was plastered.
You talked about the Oilers, them being your pick out of the West. How much of that is based on Connor McDavid and his greatness? And because like he seems to be the kind of unanimous when you talk about, he's the LeBron James of hockey right now.
Yeah, I'd say right now he is high percentage of and also I don't mention it enough probably, but arguably the second best player in the league is Leon Draisaitl, who is also on the Oilers. And the Oilers had a bunch of guys this year who put up a lot of points, but I mean, when you're on a power play unit with McDavid, you could probably stick Matty Goldberg out there and he put up 40 points.
And in hockey, anybody that touches the puck within 10 minutes of getting a goal gets awarded a point.
Right. Yeah. Some guys will just chisel assists. I touched the puck, put my name on the score sheet.
If only the 2 passes away guy in the NBA were got an assist.
Yeah.
LeBron would have had the assist record 14 years ago.
Oh yeah. For sure.
So is that so how about in the West though? You like the Oilers. Who else is I want to know another team to keep an eye on in the West. Let's start there.
Okay. Well, the Avalanche for sure. They're defending champs. They're playing the Kraken, and the Kraken won game 1. Shockingly, I thought that was going to be a sweep. No doubt about it. But I like the Avalanche.
I have two more questions for you, and then we'll let Andy wrap this up. My one question is: Kraken winning a playoff game have only been in Seattle. What is this, year 2?
Year 2, yeah.
The Golden Knights. Different from Andy's Black Knights. The Golden Knights, I believe, made the playoffs year 1 and made the
final. Right? They made it to the final year 1.
Have made the playoffs. Correct me if I'm wrong. 4 out of their 5 years in existence.
Yeah, last year was their first year not making it.
What is it about hockey that makes it possible for expansion teams to have some bit of success? Literally right out of the gate.
Well, it's just a good game, Joe.
Is that anything to do with the draft style, the way
they did change the expansion draft, so it's more forgiving now than it used to be? Because I think in the 90s when they were expanding, those teams that came in were garbage. They were so bad that they had to change something, and Vegas, they took advantage of it, and their team on paper at first wasn't great, but they just happened to find the right mix of guys, and it looks like Seattle's kind of done the same. They had a tough first year, but this year, man, they've played really well. So So yeah, it's good for the league having these new teams.
It's great for the league to have a new
yeah.
team to
Good for
be
CT.
cultivating a fan base, and to, it's easiest to do that in any sport with winning. My second and last question for you is, obviously, Rangers Devils is a series I tuned into the other day. I tuned into it for about 40 minutes till Knicks Cavs tipped off. We're in a moment right now where, Mets baseball is being played, NBA playoffs are being played. I am checking in with one hockey series. If you had to give me, a casual hockey fan, another first round series that you would say is, if I said I'm only going to watch Rangers Devils and I'm going to check in on one other series, what series is the series to check in on?
I would probably go Oilers Kings. I've been watching that one quite a bit. The first two games, the pace has been incredible, and you get to watch the two best players in the league. So I would probably recommend Oilers Kings.
Well, that's an easy one. It's a local. That's a local broadcast here in LA.
Go down there, Joe.
Oh,
you can go see that in person.
That's not a terrible idea. I'm sure tickets are expensive with it being playoffs, but who knows? Maybe I'll check the. Is SeatGeek still a sponsor? We'll check some of the apps.
No, you want to hear something funny though? I think the SeatGeek promo code DIRTY, which we haven't worked with them since I think 2020, maybe 2019. Okay. I think it still works.
Let's go.
Yeah, real promo quick, Dirty. Okay, was the first Dirty Sports sponsor, was it not Uber? Or am I way off on that?
No, dude, that's a good point. I think you're right. I think we did in Sideshow.
So, yeah, that's a huge bump too.
It's a
huge pull right there.
It's a pull by me, but it's a huge Dirty Sports bump. Like, look how big Uber has gotten since then. That's
funny. So yeah, that was a Sideshow network.
Yeah.
I think they might have paid us $30 for that or some very small amount. That's a good memory.
And Maria was probably wanting some of that $30.
Dude, you're old school. You've been with us.
Oh yeah, a long time. 8.5 years it's been.
Dude, you referenced my dad's Wednesday bowling league. Like, that's amazing.
I didn't even know Uber ever sponsored the Dirty Sports podcast.
That was a deep reach.
It was a couple ad reads. So you know it all. You know all the good, the bad, the ugly.
Well, and my goal coming into today was, can I at least be better than MILF Talk?
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. The old cross promotion.
I like that you set a low bar for yourself.
Yeah, well, you got to keep the bar a bit low so you don't disappoint yourself. But
well, look, dude, you did great,
now,
man.
If the Leafs lose, you'll have to get some sort of tattoo on your tits. What was that? I forget what the fuck that. There was something with that.
Yeah, that almost ended my Dirty Sports fandom. After listening to that episode, I was thinking, like, maybe this podcast isn't for me.
What a reference. Well, Ryan, we're glad that we could finally get you on live.
Oh,
and we'll have to do this again.
I think every round. We get Ryan back. Once every team moves on to the next round, we bring Ryan back.
I mean, I would love to. I'm off work this week, so this worked out. But going forward, might be a bit challenging. But I would love to come back on, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on. This is awesome for me. I mean, I've been a fan for 8.5 years. So, before you cut me loose, I need to quickly give a birthday shout out to my wife. I'll keep her anonymous, but happy birthday,
Mrs. Klatt.
I love you, and hope you're having a great day. And yeah.
That's sweet. Yeah. Shout out and happy birthday to your wife as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, Ryan. Good to see you, buddy.
How long have you been married? How long have you been married?
3 years, just over 3 years.
Do you have any kids?
Yeah, I've got one daughter. Yeah.
Dude, help me. Like, what do I got to do?
Oh. It gets better, Andy. It gets better. I know the newborn stage is tough. My daughter just turned 2. It's a lot more. I enjoy fatherhood a lot more now than I did at the start.
Good to know. I might be sliding in those DMs for some more fatherly advice. Well, thanks, Ryan. We appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Andy.
you,
Thanks,
Ryan.
Joe. See you later.
Later, bud.
What a great call.
Again, Canadians, friendliest, nicest people.
Answered all my questions. I'll tell you what. Here's what Ryan does that no hockey correspondent did before. Now, I'm not saying Jacob Faith wasn't a very entertaining call, when he would call from the bathroom. I'm not saying that watching Jake Bruder get sentenced to years in jail for the January 6th insurrection wasn't fun for the Dirty Sports Podcast. But Ryan makes me excited to watch hockey games.
Just no mention of Alexis either. Wow.
Alexis, I forgot. Alexis is like the Minnesota Wild sideline reporter or something these days. I forgot about Alexis. I don't know. Alexis was great too. But Ryan, I think, the elite hockey correspondent. The Connor McDavid of Dirty Sports hockey correspondents. Makes me want to watch hockey.
Yeah, Alexis is I'm looking at her Twitter. She is a broadcaster for the Premier Hockey Federation, and she also does radio for the Minnesota Wild.
See?
She also claims to be the Timberwolves' #1 fan.
That can't be true.
Number one?
The Timberwolves' #1 fan.
Interesting.
So
well,
I'm
we should
looking at it
hop
right
into
now. So we got a, it kind of does work out well because like Sixers Nets is a 2-0 series. I don't have Kings Warriors till 7 and Suns Clippers till 7:30. I got Rangers Devils at 4:30, and luckily because the Mets are out here on the West Coast, no Mets Giants till 6:45. So we'll be watching Rangers Devils tonight.
There you go. And I know you'll be watching that with the Miller Lite, and I appreciate that Ryan, very loyal to us, loyal to the Miller Lite brand, was drinking a nice cold Miller Lite for his debut on Dirty Sports today.
We'd love to see that.
Right?
Absolutely. I've been in Canada a few times, and for me, it was hard to come by Miller Lights in the various places I was in Canada. But I know it's up there, and I'd love to see that Ryan went out of the way to grab one. Hopefully, not too far out of the way. Hopefully there's a package store in Saskatoon where he can get some Miller Lights to get buckled,
Yeah. I love those terms. Buckled, wagon. God bless the Canadians. Well, if you're a dirtball in Canada or a dirtball in the States or a dirtball anywhere, go get you some Miller Lite, guys.
Or have Miller Lite come to you. You don't even have to go
God.
get it.
That's an even better option. Miller Lite is light beer with the flavor you love. Tastes like Miller time. And you can get that Miller Lite delivered right to your door, as Joe just mentioned. Simply visit MillerLite.com/dirty sports, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Okay, so NBA playoffs are really starting to heat up here.
Andy, I just want to ask you a question because we talk about this a lot. We always talk about the post Super Bowl dead time. We hit post Super Bowl. We usually are around All-Star break NBA, Major League Baseball barely getting underway with spring training. Sort of, I would say, arguably the worst time of year for sports. Is this the best time of year for sports? Baseball is into, its second month. Basketball and hockey are in the playoffs. NFL draft is around the corner. Is this next? I know there are college basketball fans out there just punching the wall right now. But is this the best time of year for sports?
Well, as a diehard NFL guy, it's tough for me to say that without the NFL actually being played. I see that argument. I see that case. There is.
The other time of year would be, I guess, end of football season, start of basketball season. Like, we always talk about the unofficial start of NBA season. You have the last few years, we have Christmas Day games and Christmas Eve football games.
Look, I think I wouldn't argue what you're saying. There's not much of a counter. There really isn't. And if you include the NFL draft, you're right. Like, that's a huge thing. All around all the pro leagues, it's tough to offer a counter.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think when you think about a week from now or 10 days from now, whatever it is, it'd be a week from now, right? Because the first round's Thursday.
Correct.
Having playoff hockey, playoff basketball, regular season baseball, and the first round of the NFL draft on one day.
Yeah, it's tough to counter. It really is. Do you think the Kings win this series now that it's 2-0?
With Draymond being suspended, I still think this is going to be a very close series. I'm leaning toward but I don't feel great about that. Because you know what? In the NBA, all they've done is win 2 games at home.
Sure.
And as I always say after a game 3, a series cannot be closer than 2-1. Somebody has to be up 2-1 in the closest series ever. So let me ask you this question. If the Warriors had won game 2 and the Kings come in and win game 3 and it's 2-1 Kings, we're feeling like this is a back and forth series. I think the Draymond thing for sure hurts. Like, in reality, of course it hurt. You want Draymond to be out there. But does this inspire some sort of bounce back game by the Warriors? I think this is going to be a good series still.
Yeah. And my follow-up, I want to discuss, if the Lakers make it through the first round, do they want to play the Kings or the Warriors? I would probably argue the Kings.
I just think you've got to say the Kings in that situation, not
solely based on experience.
Yeah, I talked about the Kings' lack of playoff experience as a reason that I thought the Warriors were to be, well, first of all, were Vegas favorites to win the series, and in my opinion, were going to win the series. Forget playoff experience when it comes to the Kings. We're talking about actual experience with LeBron James. Steve Kerr and the Warriors have a ton of LeBron James experience. So, yeah, I think you'd want to play the Kings.
Huge miss by the Lakers last night, by the way. Like, huge.
Yeah.
That's going to be a 7-game series now.
It's got potential. I think I've got Lakers in 6.
Okay.
But huge. I mean, for Memphis to get a win without Ja,
they killed him,
is massive. Absolutely. Same as the Bucks getting a huge win.
Same thing.
A blowout win without Giannis. You know, if you're the Heat, you know, Giannis is essentially day-to-day questionable. He's probable. He's going to play. He's not going to play. They're playing the Belichick game with the injury report. For you to come into that game starts, Giannis isn't playing, and for it to be 1-1, the chances of the Heat winning that series have, like, cut in half by 90%. Not cut in half, you know, like cut all the way down, essentially.
Yeah.
You have a chance to steal home court advantage entirely. You have a chance to say, hey, if your guy ain't here, you're not beating us. You lose anyway. One of the best players in the world off the court.
Did you see the new article that Zach Harper wrote today?
No.
It's to ban the free throw line.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
First charge is now the free throw line. I don't know what's next. I'm not
Andy,
gonna,
my problem is, Andy, you just don't let things die. We talked about him last episode. You just gotta stay on him. The guy had a bad take.
the not letting things die by also proving that by bringing up things about not letting things die. This is like a meta universe you're putting me in right now.
The guy had a bad take. Okay. We have to talk about it every episode.
It's a bad take. Somebody left a call. I'm not gonna play the call, but somebody left a call about it. I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I feel you, man. Not a good take. I'm gonna be curious how these games play out, though. You know, we got some good series going. Obviously, especially where these go on the 1-1 games.
By the way, the NBA zigzag theory. I hope you guys are all bathing in money like I am.
That Suns Clippers series is a pretty prime example.
A pretty prime example. I mean, you had even if you went, forget the Giannis thing. Forget the LeBron thing, or forget the Ja thing. I mean, you've got the Heat covering one, getting blown out 2. You got the Lakers covering one, losing game 2. You got the Knicks money line in game 1, blown out in game 2. Keep playing that zigzag.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, I mean, it works in some series it doesn't.
Yeah, and that's always been the thing. Stay away from the series that have just dominant.
The Denver,
things.
Minnesota, Boston, Atlanta, those type of series. No, I know for sure. It's weird to me to think Denver.
And by the way, for those Denver and Boston and whatever series, you'll be able to zigzag them next round when they play teams that are more competitive.
When's the time Denver made the NBA Finals?
Literally not in my.
That's what I'm thinking.
Has Denver made the NBA Finals? Maybe they made it in a. Did they make it in like a fucking? Were they one of those sneaky 80s teams that randomly played in a?
No, I don't.
So the Denver Nuggets have never made an NBA Finals.
Also, I'm missing something here. I'm not seeing them ever make an NBA Finals.
I mean, in my basketball knowledge, like literally nothing. I have no recollection of that at all.
Mine either. That's like weird for me to think them in the finals because of that.
When did the Denver Nuggets even become a team? Because if it didn't happen in the 80s, it just essentially didn't happen.
They were an ABA team that when the merger happened in they became an NBA team in 76, 77.
They became it when?
76, 77.
Yeah.
Dude, you're not going to believe this. Here's a fun little fact for you. Their first NBA head coach was Larry Brown in 76, 77. That dude's been coaching forever.
I love that you're like, as far as I can find, I just have the Denver Nuggets played in the NBA Finals, and Google said, as of the 2022-2023 season, they have never reached an NBA Finals.
Well, I was like scrolling.
They reached the conference finals in 78, 85, 2009, and 2020.
So, as the kids would say, big. What do they say?
The Clippers, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Hornets, Grizzlies, and Pelicans have never played in NBA Finals.
So big if true. What do the kids say?
I love it. You already threw out a mid-level early in this game, early in this episode. Mid-level. That's not what the kids say.
What did the kids say? Mid?
Yeah.
I called it mid-level?
Yeah.
Well, Joe, I'm always a step behind.
Yeah.
I still say it's lit. I still say turn all the time. Like, we getting turned? Like, to my kid, I say it to Roscoe. Like, we getting turned? Turn up.
Do you still say to Roscoe, let's ride?
Oh, yeah. I'll still say, Roscoe Country, let's walk. That's what I say. Roscoe Country, let's walk. And then
Speaking of your boy, what happened to your boy, dude?
What did happen?
Your boys crashing golf carts into fucking sand traps?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Russell Wilson.
He needs to have Brian Schottenheimer in it sitting shotgun in his golf cart. Make sure he doesn't get out of control.
Yeah, he's really fallen off, man. Like in life. Like, what is he doing?
But like physically falling off the edge of a sand trap into it in his golf cart.
Yeah. They're doing a new White Man Can't Jump remake? No.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's like done and I think it's like ready to be out.
Trailer's out today.
I believe it's what's the rapper kid? Harlow?
Jack Harlow, yeah.
Jack Harlow.
Come on, man. Come on, man. What are you doing? What are you doing with that? So you just gonna be buried in the TV this weekend? All these games going on?
You know it, man. What a fucking great time.
Yeah. I do.
Let me just say something. I'll be watching Giants Mets tonight. I was supposed to be there up in the Bay for this game. I just wanted to say I posted it on Instagram. I don't think I posted it on Twitter, but apologies to any dirtballs that were planning on coming to see me at the Throckmorton Theater 2 nights ago. Anybody that was planning on coming to see me at the Killdozer Comedy Show last night had some personal stuff come up, couldn't come to the Bay. So my apologies. And if you bought tickets, I will make it up to you.
All right. Well, we should hop into some dirtball calls over here. We do have a few calls today. As always, the hotline is 310-359-8365. Start off with a non-sports call.
No chill. What's going on? Freezy here. It's been a while since I've called in. I'm going to try and keep this under a minute before Andy has an aneurysm. So I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on a first date. Now, would you guys recommend a drink, a dinner, or perhaps an activity? I don't know, like a baseball game, maybe axe throwing or something like that. It doesn't have to be that, but from your experience, what do you guys think? Now, I know it depends on a case-by-case thing, but in your guys' experience, what has worked for you guys? Appreciate it, and I'll hang up and listen.
Shout out to Freezy. I was a guest on. He's got a Reds podcast.
And you did it recently?
Did it recently, Rally Cap.
Meanwhile, you're not watching the Reds at all.
No, they asked me. They're like, "Will you attend a Reds game this year?" I said, "Most likely not." I told them going in, like, guys, I don't even know who's on the road. Like, I know the young pitchers.
Bandy Andy.
It's not Bandy Andy, dude. I got time is valuable. I saw they did. Of course,
this
I saw
fucking guy. A couple of years ago, you're in Chris Sabo glasses. We're going out of we're explicitly attending Reds spring training games on trips to Arizona. A couple down seasons in a row. And now you're sending texts to me and CT yesterday. Baseball is dead. I don't care.
That's me having fun. But look, we all know what happened. I mean, we're not going down that road again with the ownership. I think they were actually smart to sign Hunter Green to get ahead of the curve. He could be a bust, but like, what if he's really good? 6 years, $53 million is not much, right? Like, to get ahead of that is smart. But first date, okay. So here's what's interesting. Like my first date experience is basically California. Like you have a lot of options in LA. A lot of options, especially living by the beach. Now you're calling Freezy's a Cincinnati guys. It's a little different. My go-to a lot of times was dinner, partly because I don't drink alcohol anymore. It's an easy go-to. But like I said, living in California, I had a fair amount of like, hey, let's meet somewhere by the beach, grab a bite, go for a walk along the beach. Like I had a lot of those, right? Now, when I was drinking, it was like, let's get shit-faced and try to have sex. Like full disclosure. That was like the go-to, let's get drunk, try to bang. A drink is a good idea.
So let me say this. I've never in my life had a drink first date.
Interesting.
I've never in my life had a coffee first date. Like, what the fuck are we even talking about here? Are you applying to be the fucking HR girl at a PR firm? To meet for coffee? Should I bring my resume? Basically, historically, I would say all of my first dates, almost all of them, it's sort of a layered plan. Dinner, and then if dinner goes well, should we go have a drink? Should we go out and have a drink or two after? I've also done bowling. I've done, let's go smack some balls at the driving range. Like doing a fun activity that includes drinking and some food. Let's go to the bowling alley and get some appetizers and some drinks and bowl. Sure. Let's go to like a cool axe throwing place or whatever and get some dinner or get some apps and something. Sure. I'm okay with that. But I would say historically, I would say about 70 to 75% of my first dates, dinner, drinks at dinner, then drinks if it's going well, and then who knows from there. And then a lot of times I like to follow that up with the second date. Now that we've gotten to know each other and we've, sloshed around a little with some booze. Hey, you want to go to the beach on a Sunday? You want to go to a ball game? You want to go to whatever as a second thing? But I always think just like sitting across from somebody and eating and drinking is like a great way to get to know them, not necessarily having to be so distracted by some other thing.
Yeah, I'd say the dinner is it's definitely mine go-to. I think I had one coffee date. I don't even drink coffee. And you're right. That's just like, what are we doing here? Like, that's weird. I'm trying to think of like the weirdest first date. Like, I don't know if I've had like a weird, like, you wanted me to meet you where? The circus. That was a weird first date.
No, really?
I'm fucking with you.
No, because the thing is, you don't want to get yourself caught in a fucking situation you can't get out of.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to go to a baseball game when I don't know who you are, and suddenly I got to fucking drive to Dodger Stadium and drive back from Dodger Stadium and be there for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's almost like inviting a girl to stay with you for a weekend after meeting her once.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that, especially if you own a Mastiff.
That needs relief.
There's a good dirty sports nug for everybody who knows. If you know, you know. Just like the kids say, right? If you know, you know. Well, here's something I did not know. And I guess you made a joke about it last episode. There's a city of Lesbos.
It's an island.
Didn't even know that. Got a call about that.
Wow. Here we go.
Hey, boys. It's Preston from Indiana, and I just want to take you guys to school here a little bit. You guys mentioned Lesbos, and Joe even seemed like he knew exactly where that was. And I have actually been there. It's where the Amazonian, a lot of those stories They were rumored to be based off of the island of Lesbos, and that is where the term lesbian actually did come from. I actually went and worked in the refugee camp there, which has pretty much ruined tourism there. But it's one of the craziest places I've ever been to, genuinely. And basically, I just wanted to take this and ask you guys, what is the craziest vacation spot / country / city? What's the most entertaining or crazy city that you guys have ever been to? Anyway, they also only make ouzo on that island. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a liquor. It tastes like licorice. It's absolutely disgusting. But yeah, it's like one of those where if it's not made on Lesbos, it's not ouzo. Anyway, I'm just curious, what's the craziest place you guys have been?
Wait a second. This is all new for me. So you're
Yeah.
telling me.
I mean, you mentioned it last episode. I made the reference. You reacted as if you knew exactly what I was talking about.
I do that at times. So that's where the term comes from?
Yes.
What was the island full of a bunch of lesbians?
I mean, there's like a, I think it was some sort of heavily female populated or something like that. I mean, you've got Wikipedia in front of you, but
Well, my night's planned. The weirdest, I don't really have a weird. Like, I didn't do a spring break trip to Kazakhstan. I don't know when you say
Kazakhstan isn't a place, so yeah, it's safe to say you did not.
What's it called?
Kazakhstan?
Okay. Tomato. So, the weird, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of weird places.
I mean, I can tell you one in the States. He's probably going to know this. There's a Santa Claus, Indiana.
Okay.
That I went through recently on the way to St. Louis. I've always been like, what is Santa Claus? I've done that drive from Cincinnati to St. Louis 50 plus times. My girlfriend and I, let's go. It's a few miles off the highway. It's a little town in Indiana that literally is Christmas themed year round. Like, we went in May. Christmas stores. It's called Santa Claus, Indiana. There's the Santa Claus post office. And I guess they get so many letters. Like, there's a whole history. We were checking out there's like a whole historical thing to it. It's kind of crazy, but that's a random town, Santa Claus, Indiana.
I'm trying to think of the places I've been around the world, and if anything stands out to me as especially weird. I've been to some middle of fuck in Australia. It's pretty weird, being out in the outback is wild. But in terms of weird people, weird things, I mean, the US, you get some weird fucking backwards ass places, but I don't know. Honestly, Alaska, being out when I did the show, when I went to Alaska and I did shows, not just in Anchorage, but then the shows outside of thing. There was one show where I tell the story every time I talk about Alaska. I mean, the people must be hella bored there because 8 dudes were like, fuck my wife. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Why did you just all fuck each other's wives? Are you just waiting for the comedian to come and work this lake resort?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. A lot of swinging going on up there. Maybe if that was the island of Lesbos, I would have taken somebody up on it. But I don't need some creepy Alaskan man jacking off in the corner while I cuck him. You know what I mean?
Is that called City of Cuck? What's the name of that town?
Oh, that was where what's her name was from? Sarah Palin, Wasilla, Alaska.
Wow. So her husband's been cucked then.
Yeah. Her husband goes up to guys and probably was like, you interested in nailing Palin?
Good porn reference. All right, one more call. Let's do one more call and then wrap this up.
This question is for Joe. You've alluded to Sweet Gates. with your incident, but you never really gave the dirtballs the full story. I think there was a couple hints, maybe something to do with taking someone's beer in the owner's box or something. But I was wondering if statute of limitations, maybe it's enough time has gone by where you can give us the juice on that. Dying to hear that story. Anyways, stay dirty, boys.
I will not be giving the details of the story just yet. I think I won't know if the statute of limitations are up until I am invited back to the suite or shown love by the person that I may or may not have done wrong in a way that makes me know that we are all good again. But I'll essentially it's Beergate, Sweetgate. I did not take a beer from somebody. I gave a beer to somebody that perhaps should not have had a beer for whatever reason. And massive drama ensued. I will be providing no more details than that today.
All right. Well, that answers that. Give us a ring, 310-359-8365. That is our hotline. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the whole 9 yards at The Dirty Sports.
At joeprano.com/shows for all shows. I will be in and around Los Angeles and Southern California for about the next month. So keep your eye on joeprano.com or on any of my social media at Joe Prano, except for Twitter where I'm at Fix Your Life for shows that are local. Next big one that I would love everybody to know about, June 7th, New York Comedy Club in Stamford, Connecticut, just over the New York border from where I grew up, just one hop, skip, and a jump down I-95 from where I went to high school in Greenwich. It's a show, a sort of homecoming, if you will, for the 203-914 crowd. If you are a dirtball in the tri-state area, it's going to be a great show to come to. It's a Wednesday night, but it's going to be a good Wednesday night. It'll be me, Pete Sestaro, Mark Gerber, a couple of old comedy friends, a three-headed monster of comedy. There'll be an after party for sure with lots of friends and family in the area. So if you're around, I mean, it is summer after all, early June, take a Wednesday night out, come to New York Comedy Club in Stamford. If you go on my Twitter or if you go on my Facebook, Joe Prano Comedy, or if you go to Stanford, New York Comedy Club, Stanford's website, tickets are available now, June 7th. Get them early. If you're going to come, buy your tickets now. I'd really appreciate it, and I hope to see you there. There'll be more East Coast dates for that trip planned when I know my exact travel dates. I'm sure I'll be going to a Mets game when I'm in town. I'm sure I'll be doing the Cellar. I'm sure I'll be doing the Stand. But that's going to be a good one. Going to do an hour. It's going to be fun. So come to that. And just go to joeprano.com for more shows. I'll be visiting Vegas, the home of the Vegas Athletics, the week before that, last week of May, first week of June. So come on down to that or just stay on my website and look for more stuff. Dates being added as we speak.
Cool. All right, guys. That's our show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Much love to everyone. And thanks to Ryan for hopping on, making his Dirty Sports debut. Have a great weekend.
Let's go Rangers. Let's go Rangers.
Have a good weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday. And as always, stay dirty.